What if I told you that at many highly selective colleges, your application might be read in just 4 to 8 minutes by 2 people at once? I know it sounds wild, but this is exactly how top colleges evaluate applications today, using a system called committee-based evaluation, or CBE. And I'm going to show you a real example in today's video. Hey there parents, families, and students. My name is Andrew Hoffman. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a former director of admissions at Swarthmore, an early adopter of the committee-based evaluation system. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on how this system actually works, why colleges use it, and how this might affect your application. I'll give you an overview of the reading process, something the admissions officers are engaged in right now, and compare it to what I consider the more traditional reading approach. Stick around to the end of the video where I share details of my application review service, where I will put on my committee-based evaluation lens and provide you advice, feedback, and edits on your application before submitting it to your college. Let's dive in. So let's get right into this. What is committee-based evaluation? CBE is a system where 2 admission officers read the same application at the same time, but focus on different parts of the application. One reader handles the academic side, transcripts, test scores if submitted, school context, and recommendations about your classroom performance and personal qualities. We sometimes call this person the driver. The other reader focuses on what we call the student voice, or the personal side of things. Your essays, honors and awards, extracurriculars, sometimes your counselor recommendation, activity descriptions, everything in your voice. We sometimes call this the passenger. The admission officers talk through what they're seeing, contextualize your achievements, and together they come to an initial recommendation of admit, waitlist, deny, defer. Or they assign a number of ratings, which we'll get into, and push it on to the next committee. So why did colleges change to this model, and what did they do before CBE? Well, for years and years, colleges engaged in what I consider a traditional reading approach. That's what I did when I started working for Vanderbilt Admissions. From 2009 until I left in 2015, we would read applications in isolation. We spent anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes reading applications one by one and reading everything in the file. That started out with paper files and then moved to a very clunky online reading system. At the end of that long read, we would assign ratings and in-depth comments, either for the second reader or the final committee. And sometimes those comments weren't ever reviewed again, wasting a ton of time, in my opinion. By the way, admission officers now read in a very efficient system called Slate Reader. I did an entire video of what that reader looks like and how admission officers are reading your application. You can check that video out next. So why don't admission officers read in the traditional format any longer? Well, first, many colleges do. Committee-based evaluation has been adopted by a lot of selective schools, but not all of them. Many recognize, however, because applications have skyrocketed, they just needed another system. No longer could they give every applicant 15 to 20 minutes when they're receiving 30, 40, 50,000 applications a year. Even smaller schools with smaller staffs were feeling the surge, so this isn't just about raw numbers. It's about the number of applications per admission officer, which doubled during my 7 years at Swarthmore. Places like Penn, Swarthmore, Georgia Tech, Bucknell, Princeton all face massive surges in applications over the years. Admission officers were reading nights, weekends, and holidays, and it led to a lot of burnout. While CBE didn't solve all of these issues, it certainly alleviated a number of them. Committee-based evaluation made the process more efficient, but also more humane to admission staffers, and surprisingly more thorough in a number of ways. For example, at Swarthmore, we went from reading 4 to 5 applications per hour to about 15. According to media reports, Georgia Tech reading teams read about 500 applications a day. And at Bucknell, a 2-person read takes about 6 to 8 minutes. But to be clear, the idea was never read faster and care less. It was read smarter, stay organized, and make fewer mistakes. I know what you might be thinking. 4 to 8 minutes, how can that possibly be holistic? After all, you put hours into your application. Here's the key. Holistic review doesn't mean slow, it means contextual. In fact, with 2 trained readers talking in real time, the process catches more nuance, not less. They challenge each other, they question assumptions, they reduce hidden biases, and it ensures that small but important details aren't missed. It's also another check. I often ask my reading partner to take a look at an essay or a recommendation paragraph just to ensure that I was understanding the context correctly. And remember, this is just the first phase. Files can get flagged for further discussion, move on to a committee, or another bin. When I was director of admissions at Swarthmore, I challenged the staff not to make a final decision in that first read. Instead, I wanted them to point out things that the next committee really needed to know. Ratings and short comments were intended to instruct the next committee of where to look, not necessarily to summarize the entire file. During the second phase, or committee, all committee members would read the entire file, versus in the traditional reading process, where I would need to present the file as a presentation for the committee members. They might be looking at the summary page, but they're certainly not reading the entire file. Both of those approaches can be effective, but one is specifically designed for high volume. So what does this process actually look like inside the admissions office? Well, instead of just telling you, I'm going to show you, giving you a real life example. In this next part, I'm going to model a real CBE read. Roles, timing, conversation, all of it. Obviously, this is fictitious, but this should give you a sense of how this actually works. Okay, ready to read some files? Ready as I'll ever be. Great, we're gonna get through 35 files this morning, which is about 12 files an hour, and we're gonna start in Louisiana. And you're ready for the passenger role, right? Just as long as you drive. Great. First up, we have Noah Douglas from Catholic in Baton Rouge. You can see on the dash that we get a number of applications from this school each year, around 10 or so. Noah's toward the top of the school group. He's interested in biology and computer science, has a 1540 SAT, had a dance rating of 2, and is applying for our Service Learning Scholarship Program. Any questions? And how are we doing in Louisiana this year? We're fine. We're pretty popular in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. We already have a number of ED admits, and we're typically admitting a student from Catholic each year. Obviously, it depends on the pool. Okay. So taking a full load senior year with APs in chemistry, BC Calc, Econ, and English literature. He also has an upward trajectory on the transcript and is maxing out in both science and English. Had a few Bs early on, but has since brought everything up to As. He's pretty involved here. Captain of the baseball team at All-State, helps run the school's baseball camp for the last 3 summers. Editor of the Lit magazine, cantor at church, and has developed an AI-based app that uses computer vision and machine learning to deliver advanced analytics, like player ball tracking, 3D pose estimation, and pitch trajectory tracking. Yeah, his counselor letter discusses that a bit. It sounds like the baseball and interest in AI combo is a standout here, as is some of his performing arts. She says it's rare at this all-boys high school to have someone so invested in dance. He really has a lot of dance on his activity list. He's won some regional events in the Showstopper dance competition for hip-hop, and even competed at national. I don't think he placed, but it's great nonetheless. And the art supplement indicates he's great. The 2 dance rating and context is among the highest that the faculty member has given this season. The comments suggest having a great boy dancer would be very compelling here. He also has some nice writing. His personal statement is about growing up with these dual interests between baseball and dance, and it sounds like he gets some ribbing about his dance interests from his baseball teammates, but he says they've always been really supportive and kind about it. He also recognizes the privilege he has that other young men sometimes don't enjoy based on his teammates on the dance team. He says that while he maintains his interest in STEM, he's also interested in taking some sociology classes here about gender expectations and norms. That matches what the counselor and teachers are saying as well. The counselor says that he's often recognized by faculty and staff as one of the kindest and most thoughtful in his class. He goes out of his way to ensure support staff, for example, are celebrated, and asks at the annual faculty awards they could start including support staff as well. His Why Us essay talks about his interest in the liberal arts, how behavioral economics and psychology can help inform his interest in AI, without forgetting the moral, ethical, and sometimes theological lens he uses when thinking about solutions. He mentions a few professors and classes here that relate to those interests, and also discusses our undergraduate research program as a potential interest. He also includes a research abstract in his additional information, and while I don't personally love long research papers in the app review, this is pretty short and concise. I'm not going to pretend to understand this, but essentially it's looking at microplastic pollution and how it releases chemical additives that may alter gene expression in aquatic plants. Okay, I think I understand him and what he brings. Ready to add some ratings? Yes, I think his relative placement in class, somewhere in the top 10% of the class, but we can't pinpoint exactly where. He's second in this year's school group and would have been second in last year's school group. Combined with the 1540 SAT and a few 4s and 5s on APs, plus a fully rigorous curriculum, gets him to a 2 academic rating. Based on his involvement, awards, leadership, I think he's probably a 4 activity rating, maybe a 4 minus. What do you think? I mean, according to the rubric and what I saw as confirmation in the counselor letter, I think a 4 is appropriate. The regional dance and art sup gets me there. Right. How about major fit? I think he has a pretty high major fit here, both for biology and computer science. He also gets additional consideration because he's demonstrated an understanding of the liberal arts here, so not super pointy towards bio or CS. And the faculty reminded us in training that, while they want high performers in a given major, they also want to teach students with varied interests as well. So you think it's another 4 major fit rating? Yeah, I think that's appropriate. So we have a 244 student from Louisiana who has some personally compelling qualities that faculty have elevated. What do you think for the overall rating? I think he's a borderline between a 2 and a 3. I think the committee will want to hear about him in final, but I also don't think that he's a slam dunk admit. Agreed. I'd honestly lean toward a 2 based on what I'm seeing. I agree. Let's give him a 2 and pass him on to final. Any other notes you want to include? Let's mark the arts up box because I think that has helped him. And can you also mark the personal characteristics box? I think he has qualities beyond what we normally see. I'm not seeing the elements we need for the service learning scholarship, so I think we can pass on that front. Thoughts? I think that's right. Best of luck, Noah. Okay, now on to Kelly from St. Joseph's. Okay, now that you've seen a CBE read in action, let's zoom out. What you just watched represents thousands of reads that are happening across the country. It's fast, it's structured, and it's collaborative. And honestly, it's one of the biggest behind-the-scenes changes in highly selective college admissions in the last decade. This model keeps staff focused and consistent. It allows more early career readers to be paired up with veterans who can learn from one another. And it also reduces bias that might happen in isolation. And it ensures that every application has at least 2 sets of eyes weighing in. Now, if you want an expert to read through your application before it reaches CBE and the admissions office, sign up for my application review service. I'll take your entire application plus supporting materials like your transcript and resume and provide edits, feedback, and advice within a few days. That way, you can adjust certain parts of your application so you have the best chance of admission. Click on the link below or sign up at my website, askdrhoffman.com, and get your application reviewed today. And if you found this video helpful, I have another video that you're going to love. CBE is just the first step. After that is the big one, the final admissions committee. This is where admission officers debate, advocate, push, pull, compromise, do everything to get students admitted. I filmed a full simulation of that too, and it's my most popular video to date. Thanks so much for watching, good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.